Hey, you're listening to a Band of Gamers podcast, episode 196. We're here to help you stay current with gaming and discover fresh new music all in one podcast. In this episode, beginning of the show, Side A Video Games, we'll talk about the biggest news in gaming. If you haven't purchased a Nintendo Switch yet, maybe hold off. You've got some options incoming. And do you live in the US and plan on buying a new console? Well, you might be paying a lot more for those based on the tariffs. We'll talk about that. We'll quickly share what we've been playing. In that segment, we've got a review of New Star Manager from Karl. A couple other games might be worth your time. Between the two sides, we'll tell you what's in our pint glasses, because we love our local craft beers. And then Side B music. Recommended album this episode for fans of 90s thrash. And Metallica's Black Album, if it turned out like Metallica wanted it to.
Also got a little Day to Remember in there.
Ooh, good show. I think a little bit of Queens of the Stone Age and a little sprinkling of punk.
We'll share our thoughts and yours about that recommended album. Then at the end of the show, we'll recommend a few others and pick one to feature in the next episode. All of that in about 60 minutes or less, as we respect your free time and hopefully leave you with some time to play some games and listen to some tunes. Show notes, links, and conversation for this episode on our website at bandofgamers.com/196. I'm Joel, your MC, one of your three co-hosts, recording in a suburb of Milwaukee, Wisconsin, USA. And joining me on this podcast journey from across the globe, first off in beautiful Vancouver, Canada, he's your friend and mine. It's Shane.
Do you think nudists eat all dressed chips?
In Birmingham, England, a cat's best friend, it's Karl.
Meow. How we doing, fellas? Great to be back.
Yeah, man, been too long, man. It's feeling good already. We're only a couple minutes in. It's going to be a jam-packed show.
That's right. Last episode we recorded back in April when we were all three in Vancouver. That was our Albums of the Decades chat. So it's been 4 weeks since we've hung out. Too long.
What a good conversation that was as well. I'll tell you what, that had some buzz on social media, didn't it? Great fun.
Well, let's get right into it here. Side A Video Games. Nintendo Switch Lite was announced. Launches September 20th for $199 in the US. That's $100 less than the current SKU. Got a proper D-pad. The Joy-Cons do not detach. It's just got a control, like regular controllers on the side of this thing, almost like a Vita. And because of that, because they don't need to flip sideways like the Joy-Cons, they were able to put a real D-pad on there. It's strictly a portable console, so you can't dock it to output to a TV, and there'll be no cable that can connect to a TV. Got a smaller screen, so 5.5 inches compared to the current 6.2 inches in the Switch. Better battery life is expected. Outputs to 720p. There's no IR sensor and no HD rumble in this thing. So there's a few games like Nintendo's 1-2 Switch and a few others that will be rendered useless using this new Nintendo Switch Lite. And probably some of the functionality in some of the other games. I think of Nintendo's or Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild. There's some puzzles in there that I had to take the controllers off just to do like some movement controls. And I won't be able to do that anymore. So it may affect some of the other games as well. It should be, like Nintendo does, pretty rugged, like a 2DS or a 3DS. Hopefully making it great for the kiddies to lug around. They have a history of some really rugged handheld hardware.
Yeah.
And of course, after this was announced, as they do, the internet went off the handle a little bit. I saw a lot of conversation about, this isn't what we want. We want to be able to plug it in the TV. We want to take the controllers off. And basically complained about all the things they currently have in the current Nintendo Switch model.
AKA, they just don't want to pay for the Switch.
Is it because a lot of the Nintendo hardcore buy everything? And they're like, crap, now I got to buy this, but I don't need this. I already have a Switch, but I'm a sucker, so I'm still going to buy it. How dare you? Kind of thing.
I think there is a lot of pressure for the more hardcore gamers that when something new comes out, they have to have it. They have to have it so they can, I don't know, post a picture about it or something. But it does seem like anytime there is something new out, a lot of people just, they feel they just have to buy it regardless. They're not even going to use it, they have to buy it.
And it is one of those things. It's a very strange, not strange concept for them, but obviously the Switch was sold on the basis that, it's in the name. It switches between a handheld and one that you can play on the TV. And people are completely different with it. I've got friends who only ever play in handheld mode. So for them, this is like, yeah, this makes a load of sense. It's lighter, it's smaller, it's cheaper. And I only want to play those games that I want to play in handheld anyway. I'm the polar opposite. I only play mine docked. So this is like completely uninteresting to me. And I was talking to our friend of the show, Barsnack, the other day about this on Twitter, and he was like, "Oh, I want to pick one of these up. I haven't got a Switch yet, and I'm going to play Xenoblade Chronicles 2." And I'm thinking, Xenoblade Chronicles 2 is bad in handheld mode. Like the resolution drops so bad, and the frame rate compared to when you play it on the TV, it's such a better experience. And I do worry that games are going to suffer from that a little bit. Like the smaller screen size will help. I think that will make it a bit more clear. But yeah, it's something I think you're either going to be in one of those two camps where you're like, I'm all portable, or actually I like having it stripped on my TV.
Yeah, same here, man. Just play it docked. It's nice having it on the go, but I rarely use it that way. It's only when I take like a vacation, and that's once or twice a year, if I'm lucky. And then the occasional wife come down, wants to watch some TV. I grab it, move it to the couch, off the dock, play a little longer, but mostly docked.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like a secondary use, isn't it? For us, I guess, like, oh, that's handy. I can carry my game on for a bit, but I wouldn't have a long gaming session with it in a handheld mode. But again, it's personal preference.
Yeah, it's got the sweet spot for pricing. $199 US, I think, is going to draw a lot of people in that may have been on the fence up to this point. And there's already a really good catalog of games available. Unlike the launch. The launch was a little thin with games.
I'm all in. Yep.
Yeah?
I'm all in. I've signed up for email notifications, so that way when pre-orders go up, I can miss out and not get one. So yeah, I'm excited about it. I think it's fantastic. I remember when Joel and Karl were out here, they brought their Switches, and I had a chance to get some hands-on action with their Switches. And I noticed it is a little bit. It felt a little flexible with the Joy-Cons attached to the Switch and whatnot. So I think the Lite, having everything just one unit handheld, will feel really, really, really good. I love the fact the D-pad's on there. I think that's proper. I think that's going to be a huge sell on it. That's excellent. And I can't see myself getting hardcore into a Switch library of games, but there's definitely some on there I would like. I mean, I'd love to play the Mario Odyssey, and so there's many others, but keeping the price down a little bit right now is always a good thing, especially with the next generation incoming in the next year and a half. So yeah, I'm definitely in. I think the colors look great. The gray one, that turquoise is fantastic. I think that's the one I'm probably going to go for. And yeah, I think it's a great idea. Bravo, Nintendo, on this. All it does is widen their audience and gets more people involved in the Switch. So excellent. I don't think they can really do any wrong with it.
Exactly, mate. And and I'll just add a little moan about Xenoblade there, but those first party Nintendo titles look fantastic. When you take that thing out the dark, like Mario, Zelda, they look amazing in handheld mode. So there's if you're, like you say, just going to have a few games in that collection, the must play games, the 9 out of 10s, the 10 out of 10s, I think you've got a good option there in that handheld mode. So yeah, it's interesting. This is going to tip you over the edge to maybe look at getting one, mate. I'm chuffed, and you are right. Over time, those Joy-Cons, when they slot in and out, they can get a little bit wobbly. I've been taking mine in and out to play Marvel Ultimate Alliance 3, which I'm just started playing at the minute. And every time you can take them in and out, you do get that bit of movement. And on a £300 console, I do like that solid feel.
A lot of people complaining about the Joy-Con drift to the controller drift. It hasn't happened to me. I don't know if it's happened to you, Karl, but apparently after 9 months to a year of owning that thing, the controllers aren't centered anymore, and it's causing some unnatural, uncomfortable movements in the game. It's messing up some gameplay for a lot of people, apparently.
Yeah, I've heard a few things about this. I mean, I haven't suffered with it myself, but I haven't overused my Switch. I've probably put in, I don't know, I've put in probably 170 hours of Xenoblade, but that's probably about my most played game. I think the people who've Yeah, no, head's shaking here. But the people who've, the people who've done this, they probably have hammered in. They probably put 200 hours in Mario, 200 hours in Zelda. They probably have used these things a lot. And with anything, there's that much gubbins in those little Joy-Cons. There's a lot of stuff to go wrong, I think. So I think when, although they are getting away from the whole thing of switching the unit from handheld to docked, I think it is a good idea to take as much that can go wrong out of that thing as possible, especially with those little Joy-Cons. So, yeah, I think if you're going to future-proof yourself and want something handheld, this is a good option.
It's probably too soon to know, but I did read in a few articles that are saying that the controllers will be the same. Now, they're not Joy-Cons, they're not detachable, but the little analog sticks will be the same in this thing. So I guess that's the one word of caution, Shane, is if you do encounter that drift, if it's a problem that is as big as I'm hearing it talked about on the internet, you can't detach and replace. Your whole unit would have to go back.
Yeah. I mean, that could happen with anything, I guess. No, it'd be interesting, Be interesting to see. I mean, yeah, that would definitely hinder a lot of gameplay if you get those symptoms and whatnot. But yeah, Switch would be cool, man. Just take care of it.
Nintendo stands by their products, so I'm sure they can. If it were to happen, they can always send you a new one. You call and complain.
Yeah, easy. They can bust it open, replace the sticks. If it even gets to that point, right?
Is it the price point for you, Shane, that has won you over? The $100 less made you finally say, "Okay, this is time."
It's a big bonus because it'll be $259 up here, and a regular Switch is about $379 still. So I mean that's a huge incentive to purchase one of these. But honestly, the D-pad for me, just that classic Nintendo D-pad on there. That's the one problem I had when we were playing them together, was just the buttons, just really small. I got these craft beer drinking, sausage finger, pizza eating mitts. I got a first baseman's glove for a hand,
giant hands
on my right hand, and so yeah, I mean it definitely makes it easier, especially when you can get that in a game and it's still coming in underneath the full price Switch at the moment. So
speaking of buying a new Switch, there's one more SKU that's being talked about that's coming apparently. It's the current model with a new battery, or a battery with longer battery life. So if you wait a little while, these haven't hit the shelves yet, apparently starting about mid-August. It comes in, I've seen pictures, it comes in a new box. The box now has like a red background to it. So if this is interesting to you, just wait until you find those Nintendo Switch models with that red background. And apparently takes the battery life up a couple hours. So current play time is about 2.5 to 6.5 hours. With the new and improved battery, it'll be up to 4.5 to 9 hours of battery life. So you gain about 2 to 2.5 hours, depending on the game, on one full charge. I feel a little bit gypped being an early adopter, not having this improved battery life option.
I think that's a ploy to replace the older Switches because of the whole exploit that was in them. And they had to hack a bunch of them, and this is a good way to market a new Switch. And yeah, it's got a new board in there that you can't hack.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, because remember, it was in the fall, November or whatnot, they found an exploit, and it's just in the hardware, and there was nothing they could really do other than come out with a new Switch, and well, here we go.
Yeah, didn't they find a whole new game in there? Like it was an old, I can't remember what it was now, a golf game or something?
Golf, but you can only open it like one day a year on, was it Shigeru Miyamoto's birthday or something? I forget.
Yeah.
Golf is that's a great NES game, by the way. Speaking of buying new consoles, those of us in the US, that's 1/3 of this show. The new consoles are on the horizon, and we here in the US have been dealing with President Trump's Chinese tariffs, where he has tacked on a tariff to a lot of products, including electronics. Some electronics. We deal with it at my company because we import some product from China and then resell it. It really varies, the tariffs and the type of product, but it's affected us a little bit. It's apparently going to affect the next consoles, and it'll basically raise the price 25%. These companies, Microsoft, Sony, and Nintendo, can't just eat that 25%. They have to pass it on to the customers. So we here in the US might be paying 25% more for the next Microsoft, Sony, and Nintendo consoles. But Microsoft, Sony, and Nintendo joined together, collaborated, and penned a public letter to the Office of the U.S. Trade Representative regarding these concerns. A couple excerpts from that letter. In particular, tariffs on video game consoles would injure consumers. Well, not like 2x4 to the knee injure, but injure their wallets. Video game developers, retailers, and console manufacturers put thousands of high-value, rewarding U.S. jobs at risk and stifle innovation in our industry and beyond. While we appreciate the administration's efforts to protect U.S. intellectual property and preserve U.S. high-tech leadership, that's the kiss-ass part of the letter, the disproportionate harm caused by these tariffs to U.S. consumers and businesses will undermine, not advance these goals. And they're respectfully requesting that these consoles not be included in the tariffs. A little bit more from the letter. In 2018, over 96% of video game consoles imported into the United States were made in China. The video game console supply chain has developed in China over many years of investment by our companies and our partners. It would cause significant supply chain disruption to shift sourcing entirely to the United States, in other words, building them here, and it would increase costs even beyond the cost of the proposed tariffs on products that are already manufactured under tight margin conditions. Each video game console comprises dozens of complex components sourced from multiple countries. A change in even a single supplier must be vetted carefully to mitigate risks of product quality, unreliability, and consumer safety issues. Tariffs would significantly disrupt our company's businesses and add significant costs that would depress sales of video game consoles and the games and services that drive the profitability of this market. A price increase of 25% will likely put a new video game console out of reach for many American families who expect to be in the market for a new console this holiday season. Wow. Haven't thought about the tariffs that way, but that's 25% on something like $400 or $500. That's significant money.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. I mean, even though there is a lot of evidence pointing to this, and even though we've got a joint letter from Sony and Microsoft, I'm pretty sure that the president has already said that this is, wrong and fake news. I think you'd be fine.
Right.
Yeah, part of me is like, good. You can start paying what the rest of the world pays for stuff because everything's more expensive outside the United States. So, and then the other half of me is like, I don't think it's going to make it much of a difference because people will buy what they want, no matter the price. You see it every time there's a new console. It's important. Got to have it day one. Day one. Yep. Got mine. People don't care about the price. They buy new phones every year for $1,000, $1,200, and they don't care. So I don't think, I don't think it'll bother a lot. I think it just gives some gamers another thing to bitch about and get upset about and voice their concerns on social media. But is what it is. And also, if it's true in this, and it does go on to, all it does is kill jobs anyway. It's silly to begin with. But what do you do without getting political on here? Because it's not what we do. We're a break away from that and give you the latest in video gaming news and our expert veteran opinions. And that's what you're getting. So, yeah, it'd be interesting. I think it'll maybe change the way things are marketed, especially when it comes to a lot of streaming services. I think you'll see, probably just a lot of these companies just taking a different angle when pushing that, but yet to be seen. Uh-oh, left these guys speechless. I threw a dagger out there.
I was waiting for Karl because he's just hovering there.
Karl's going to pick me back up. Come on, buddy.
This video shoots me in the foot sometimes, guys.
No, it's all good. I think you're right. I think it will impact. Obviously, it will. But we've got to factor in, I guess, that by the time these tariffs filter through, there will be, there will be cost savings in the manufacturing that they do, and there will be, maybe we'll see some more bundles and things like that to try and offset the price and things. It's not ideal, obviously, but there are always ways around these kind of things. It just depends on how much they're willing to absorb. At the moment, I think Sony are already quite comfortably happy with this generation, whether they just, take the view that, there's enough in houses already and whatever else happens. And from Microsoft's point of view, I guess they're already losing a little bit with the Game Pass and all the rest of the stuff they're doing. So, yeah, we'll see what happens. The new console generation, they just might have to give it a rethink if that does stick in there. But Shane's right. Things are cheap over there, so it could be, it could just become the new norm. You know what it's like? Something happens and it's just the new normal.
So what they're saying here about it being potentially out of reach for customers who do not have the wallets might be. I think that's pretty accurate.
Yeah, definitely. It'll do its damage to a number of people's. Yeah,
it could also damage the pockets of Nintendo, Microsoft, and Sony. Hence, why they're penning this letter. There are consumers out there who are like, "Oh crap, it's going to cost more. I might have to wait." Then you've got these companies who aren't going to hit their profit goals or whatever margins they may need to maintain to be a profitable company. And guess what, guys? They could then raise the price of your consoles to help offset the hit they take in the US.
I know in my line of work, a lot of our products we bring in are from China. And we've seen over the past couple of years, a lot of them starting to move their plants into Malaysia, Thailand, South Korea. So there's definitely options out there. It's just, that's not a not a cheap option, to pack up a manufacturing plant, especially of that size, to be able to produce all these goods when there's 96% that's imported into the United States coming from there. That's probably a last resort thing, but they'll make it work. Either way and whatnot.
Yeah, where's Apple's letter? It's going to affect the iPhone business and much more than just consoles.
Oh no, remember they're all made in California, right?
Sure. Kind of like Fender guitars, right?
Yeah, how they're made in the United States in Corona, which is about a half-hour drive from the plant in Mexico, and a lot of the workers do double shifts there. No, but that's none of my business.
Well, that's it for news, guys. Karl's shaking his head over there.
Just a well of information today. Man,
it's been a
4 weeks.
It's been a lot of news.
4 weeks, guys.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Time flies. I missed you guys.
Likewise, buddy.
Let's think about how much we miss each other while Karl reviews a new football game.
Yeah. It's every now and again. As people will know, I tend to sit back and play one of my favourite ever football management simulators from 1997, Championship Manager. And the sport has kind of evolved over the years, and football management sims are now so overly complicated and ridiculous. You sign your players, and you've got to pretty much make them happy with what they're eating, with what they're doing. You can't do a thing wrong, and it's a lot to take in, and it's not really kind of geared towards the casual gamer. So I was very interested to see that a game, New Star Manager, which is a football management game, was released on the PlayStation 4 last week. And this is a game I've played on mobile for a little while. I think about a couple of years ago. It's been around a while now, and I've jumped in and out of it. It really reminded me of the kind of those glory days of football management in the 90s, where it was very straightforward. If you think about Premier Manager on the Super Nintendo, with the one with Kevin Keegan on the cover, and Championship Manager, the early Champ Manager games, where you had a very straightforward database. You can jump in and you could be like, right, okay, these are my guys. I want to play the game. It's a straightforward, kind of a text commentary and stuff, and like brilliant. And you could build your ground. You could evolve things as you go along. And this is what this game is. It's a real nod to the glory days of football management games, as far as I'm concerned. It's been out on mobile. Played a lot of it. It's a bit frustrating, like any mobile game. You've got this, a storefront, and you've got cooldowns, and you've got all the things that disrupt your enjoyment from playing a game on a regular basis. And although this now has an asking price of $13.99 on the PS4, it takes away all that stuff just so you can keep playing. And New Star Games, the guys that make this, it's pretty much a labour of love on the New Star series. They had a football game initially. They've gone for a management game, and It's on the Switch, I think, already. It's on PC. I saw it was coming to PS4. So I've got to have a go at this and see if it was improved on the mobile version. So yeah, thank you very much to the guys for the code. Reached out and got in touch with them, and also the lovely conversation as well that we had with Mark there. Just talking about video games, talking about music, and all those good things that kind of just took me back to nostalgia. And again, from that 16-bit era when I was playing games like Shadowrun and listening to Rage Against the Machine, thinking like that's a combo that I'll remember for the rest of my life. So New Star Manager, it's a cracking little management sim. You see your players like little cards on the screen. So if you're familiar with Ultimate Team on FIFA, it'll be a similar thing for you where you can look at that and say, okay, right, here's my formation, here's my guys. There's no chemistry really. There's a happiness of your squad, and you've got to keep them happy, but it's not overly difficult. You have to keep them fit. You have to keep them trained. You do all this by getting other cards. Now you might think, oh great, card packs. Here we go. This is the grind. But because they've moved it onto a gaming platform now as opposed to mobile, there is no storefront. There is no, you need to buy energy cards. You don't need to do any of that. And things come at a really nice pace. You can build your squad nice and slowly. You get these unlocks over a regular period. So you can kind of, it's still difficult, but you can keep your team happy. You can develop players you want to develop. You can keep them happy to a point. You can extend contracts of players when they're running out. It really does feel like it all fits together a lot better than on the mobile version. I feel like you've got a lot more freedom and you can really sink some time into it. The thing that sets this apart from other management games that I really enjoy is you put your team out, you set your formation up, you get them on the pitch, and then you watch the game pan out in a text commentary, which is the norm really for this kind of game. But when you get in possession of the ball, if you break up field or if you've got a chance on goal, you actually take control of the players and play the game. So it kind of kicks in and says, right, ABOG United is on the attack. And you're like, okay, brilliant. And you pick the ball up and you can actually do a surprising amount in the game when you actually take control of the player. You can pass to specific players. You can put a through ball through. You can pick where you want to put it on the pitch, and then you can just pick it up and run it if you want to do it, and try and make a bit of space. The fun thing is that if you take your finger off the stick as you're running your dude, time pauses, so you can accurately put your manager head on and say, right, I haven't got a man open, so I'm going to run at the pitch a little bit. I'm going to take my hand off the stick. Right, what's the best option? It really makes you think quite, in depth about the choices that you're going to make and carve open those opportunities and score your goals. It's super immersive. I love that about it. And you can also showboat a little bit then, if you think, oh, I'm going to go through a goal, I'm going to score some worldies, long-range efforts. When you come to shoot a goal, you get a nice little ball bounce across the screen in front of you, and you can apply curl to your shots, you can bend them, you can lift them over the keeper, you can roll them along the ground. It's a really good little game. I literally put it in. And I was like, right, I'll play through a season or two. And I think I was 7 hours later, solidly played it. And I thought, this is just going back to the old days when I was on the school holidays, and just didn't stop playing these kind of games. But yeah, thoroughly enjoyable. If you like football management games and you are, if you're older like me, you want to go back to those easy days of building your team up, go through all the seasons, build your squad, actually develop your stadium. You can build your training ground, you can build your fitness center, you can build your stands up, you can make your stadium from like a 4,000 capacity stadium to 60, 80,000 capacity, whatever you want to do, all over time. And there are still cooldowns in respect of each member of staff that you employ. They kind of have a cooldown each, so you can choose when to click on them and get like a training card off them, or get like a player to scout, or even a youth player coming through. So there's still some cooldowns in respect of that, like that carry on from the mobile game, but nothing that actually keeps you lost for words at any point. There's nothing that hampers your enjoyment. So they've done a really good job of transferring this from mobile. And when you're moving them players around on the pitch, that dual shock, it feels so much better than actually using a touch screen and trying to move these players around and pass to them and stuff. So it's super cool. It's really well balanced. And yeah, a game that I think I'm going to be playing a lot of and going back and forth to. It is on like I said, it's on the Switch already. You can use the touch controls on the Switch as well if you want to. pass it around on there or use the sticks and stuff. I can't recommend it enough. I don't think I'm really enjoying my time with it, and I thought I might, like, when you see it and you're like, actually take away all those things from a mobile game. And I think Joel, Shane, I know you don't play a ton of games on mobile, but I tend to pick them up and I'll pick a game and I'll be like, you get bored of it because it stops your progression, cooldowns and things like that. And you don't want to buy stuff from the store. You don't want to invest money in it. And there's countless mobile games that are free to play. And I'm like, I wish this was a $5. I wish this was a $10. And I'd just buy it and stop doing that,
Yeah, definitely.
So yeah, I think they do a really good job there. Definitely recommended by me. And if you enjoy your old football management games, you need to pick it up and give it a go. I get the feeling that I can, at the end of the year, when we're talking about our favourites of the year, it would not surprise me if this sneaks in there, purely because it's a game I will go back and forth to throughout the year, and I'll build it up, and yeah, I can see me racking up 80 or 100 hours in this without too much effort. So yeah, a very fun game. I've really enjoyed it.
Wow, end of the year chat already about this one. That's
right. And we haven't had a ton of games. We haven't had a ton of big games this year, and every now and again, you do get an indie one that sneaks in. And we're in August almost, and there's not been a ton of games that I'm looking at my games listing for this year, and I'm thinking, yeah, if I'm doing a top 10, man, yeah, this little gem has every chance. So yeah, thoroughly enjoying it.
It's going to be a tough year. I like the sound of that strategy that kind of blends with live action, like a cool feature there.
Yeah, it would really work well. I mean, I don't know if they're planning on other sports games, but it would. This in an NFL game, this would be ace. If you could, put your play out onto the pitch, and then, as your dude's running through, you'd be like, right, okay, who's open there? Where am I going? Come back on yourself. Is my wide receiver free? The engine could work really well.
Play the big moments. There's last play of the half or whatnot, or the game. You got to make a big play. You got to stop them here or something. Yeah.
And there's totally that. There are little bonuses. The board sets you little bonuses like, oh, try and win the game 4-0. And you'll get X amount of chances in the game. And you're like, oh, man, what do I do? Do I really go for this, or do I let this pan out? Or, what's the crack? So definitely get your grey matter working.
I like the sound of that in the NFL context. And quite frankly, any NFL game that isn't Madden would be nice right now. They've got the exclusivity. Not that I hate Madden, but they could use a good swift kick to the ass, some competition.
Oh yeah,
some variety.
Need to get some 2K back. We need that 2K football and 2K NHL would be more than welcomed.
That's what I'm talking about. That's the high point right there.
I'm also talking about.
I like it.
Tandem talking about it.
I like it. I'm going to talk about State of Decay 2 for about a few seconds. So I've got about 11 hours into this game. Been playing with a few friends. Coworker Courtney, her husband Matt. I wrote my wife in today. We got the two Xboxes in the house, like I talked about a couple episodes ago. Got her to play with me. The other console. Listen to her complain about. It's a little bit more frantic of controls, I guess, than some of the games she's accustomed to. She's more of a take your time kind of strategy player. But this is definitely a strategy priority element kind of zombie survival game. And I'm 11 hours in. So after maybe up until about 10 hours, I was not sure this game was any good. But I kept plodding through it. Like, well, playing with some friends, let's give it a shot. I think they're enjoying it. And now after 11 hours, I'm like, I kind of like this, I think. So we'll see. Stay tuned. I'm not sure if this is a good game yet, but definitely one you probably got to spend 15, 20 hours, learn the mechanics, learn the in and outs of what you got to do, how you got to do it, and then decide if it's any good. At this point, I'm just enjoying playing it with a few friends. And anytime I can get the wife and myself together to play the same game and enjoy it, if there's the potential there, that's worth it in my book. Because I am playing Don't Starve, so.
Joel, I've actually got this installed on the Xbox, so let me know, mate, as you crack on. It might be something I'll jump into.
Yeah, if you see me online, if it works out with your schedule, just feel free to jump in as well. But I'll try and keep you posted. That's it for me.
So my buddy Brian knows I've been getting into, doing the retro Super Nintendo stuff. And we always, talk about great, Super Nintendo games. Some of them that are kind of came out a little bit later in the system's life, and there's so many great games that came out like 94, 95, 96. Right around the time when the PS1 came out, and then there's the N64 coming out. So a lot of great games that got lost in there. And he recommended to me, he's like, yeah, you got to try. Do you ever play Looney Tunes B-Ball? And I'm like, no, man, I didn't knew nothing of it. He's like, oh, it's so good. It's so good. All right. So immediately I'm sitting there, chatting, have a couple drinks, look up on eBay and whatnot. And it's like 60, 70, $80.
Damn.
For like decent copies that haven't been dragged around by a truck. And always kept my eyes open, never ever seen it in the flesh or anything. And then an eBay listing came up, and it was like $35 US. The picture looked great. It's like, done. Buy it now. Showed up, gave it a nice cleaning like I love to do, and popped it in. Holy crap, man, that is a fantastic game.
Isn't it?
Amazing basketball game, man. The controls, still playing it now, the controls are very, very tight. Everything works so smooth. Graphically, it still looks great. I mean, it's that Looney Tunes, art style. It's, it's brilliant, and it's such a great game of b-ball, man. It's fun. It's got all the great characters in there. You got Bugs, you got Daffy Duck, my personal favorite, Marvin the Martian. Taz is in there. Yosemite Sam. You got all these guys in there. It's so fun, man. And I like how you can dictate to your other partner. It's 2v2, and you can, if you want the other guy to pass to you, you hit pass and he does, and and I like that. It's so, oh man, it's just such a great game, man. I was like, holy crap, dude! Like, you hit this one out of the park, man. That's a great recommendation. So I've been playing that a lot. Just
nice.
Blown away by some of these games that I never ever would have played and whatnot. So if you have any recommendations, some Super Nintendo games you don't think I've ever played that are really, really great, definitely send them in. Shoot me an email, social media. You know how to get a hold of me. We've already been talking. It's great. But yeah, man, let me know. Let me know what I should pick up on the Super Nintendo, and I'll do my best. I know some of them can be pretty pricey. Don't be telling me, oh, you got to buy Aero Fighters, because that's not going to happen. I'm not doing that. But yeah, let me know what some great titles that are, maybe some hidden gems or whatnot. Would love to hear from you.
Some pre-Space Jam Looney Tunes basketball, right? That inspired perhaps the Space Jam franchise. And his email address, in case you're wondering, Shane@abandofgamers.com.
Man, I'll tell you what, those graphics popped off the screen when I played that as a kid. It looked beautiful.
So colorful. All the characters pop. They all got their, kind of their own, characteristics that they have, from the cartoons and whatnot, man. Just a huge throwback. Just such a joy. Another quick game I played, I saw in the store, is called Super Blood Hockey. I'm obviously a hockey fan as a Canuck. I saw some screenshots of it, and it looked like the old NES game Ice Hockey. Take that game and then put a bunch of blood in it and violence, and then put a career mode in where you're a GM that hires inmates to play for your team, and you can go and buy them illegal drugs like steroids and give it to your players. And then the next day the player's all jacked up and whatnot. And there's actually even a trophy that you get for having a player die on the ice. Yeah, fantastic. If you like old school NES Ice Hockey, go and buy it.
Does it play pretty well?
Yeah, it's actually pretty fun. Solid.
It's a lot of blood, though. Like I saw a trailer. It almost looks a little like over the top on the blood.
A little bit, yes. And there's a North Korea team in it as well, so makes it even better.
Oh, wicked. I think I've got this on Steam.
Ooh.
I'm not sure if I've ever played it, though. I think I picked it up when it was cheap. I need to check this out then.
All right, coming up next, we've got Side B Music. Got some great recommended records, including that one that we mentioned at the beginning. For fans of like 90s thrash, Queens of the Stone Age. But before we get to that, let's share what's in our pint glasses. I'll get us started. I've got a Surly. It's a space race. My buddy Eric was up in Minneapolis, where Surly is located, visiting my other buddy Art recently. And I asked nicely, hey, if you're driving, which he was, bring some beer back. So he brought some Surly, he brought some Drecker, and I stashed this one away. It's the only one I had. It's a double dry hopped hazy double IPA. They do have Surly down here in Wisconsin, like that. Some of the main Surly beers. I have never seen this one for sale, so not sure if it's like a seasonal thing. Definitely not for sale down here. On the can, it says BC, not British Columbia, Shane. I don't know why it says BC on there, but it says small batch. I'm assuming more of a limited release. And like many of the Surly beers, it's damn good. Very,
Nice.
very good. Got a nice, so I believe, Mosaic, Citra, and Amarillo hops for that juicy flavor. It's going down pretty nice for a 9.5. Pretty friendly for a 9.5. Tasty.
All right. We got. This is, I've had a bunch of collaborations before, and it's usually a couple breweries getting together, but this is a kind of a triple collab. We got 3 breweries. We got Wheelhouse way up in Prince Rupert, British Columbia. Kids, look at a map. That's really far up north. And Yellow Dog Brewing, and then Dagerad Brewing as well. So you got 3 breweries that are all coming together for this, the Magic Number IPA, and the label is kind of a tribute to the old De La Soul record. The 3 Feet, I think it was called. So it kind of ties in with the whole triple collab. Everything's all about the threes. Each brewery brought a type of yeast and a type of hop for a 3 yeast, 3 hop IPA. No idea what that means, but it's a tasty beer. It's good. I'd say it's a welterweight, 6.3%. So it's tasty, nice golden color, refreshing. It's hot today, man. It's hot out here today. So yeah, it's going down nice and smooth.
Nice. You and your collaborations, mate. I also have a collaboration beer. I'm a fan of Northern Monk. I try and drink a few of those delicious brews. Every now and again, they do their collaborations. They call them the Patron Project, and they get together with another brewery or like a local talent in different fields. This time, I've gone for the Patron Project 10.06, the cocktail beer, ramen and bun. Culinary concept. It's a very interesting beer. The can is just covered in ramen. Basically, there's a ramen place in Manchester which is called Cocktail Beer, Ramen and Bun, and it's meant to be a phenomenal place to go for a bite to eat. This beer, it's a little bit different. It's very clear, as I've showed the boys a little bit earlier. So although it is an IPA built around the Northern Monk House IPA, it's got a little bit of yuzu in there, which is a citrus fruit. It's like a lemon. I think you get it over in Japan, but it's a little bit different. And as with all these Patron projects, you can peel the label off the can and have a little look and a read about the different breweries involved. This is a combination beer with the guys over at Finback, and which again is another UK brewery, and a very delicious beer. I've thoroughly enjoyed this one. Look, the Patron projects are hard to get hold of because they basically release a limited batch and then they go super quick. This is a 6.4% welterweight, I guess that Shane would call that one. Super, super clear. Very, very sweet and refreshing. You get a bit of that bitterness through from the yuzu, but they've chucked some Citra Mosaic hops in there just to balance it all out. Very, very tasty. Super refreshing. Yeah, doesn't taste like 6.4%.
Nice. That's the best kind too.
Yeah, tell me about it.
Very summery. Well, cheers, guys.
Cheers, Jim. Welcome to Side B, music. And our recommended album for this episode 196, Bokassa's Crimson Riders.
Oh man, what a side B we've got for you. Yes, Bokassa jumped into fame 2017 with Divide and Conquer, the debut EP. Really took me by surprise. It basically led them to being discovered by legendary Metallica drummer Lars Ulrich. To some, as my boys have got completely different opinions. Lars kind of embraced Bokassa and was like, these guys are my best thing on the planet. Lars says this a lot, like, let's not be, let's not go over the top. He does say that stuff a lot, but I was super, super impressed by Divide and Conquer. I thought it had all those kind of tones of Motorhead. It was heavy. It was fun. It was just a really, really great record. And these guys, I think they define themselves as stoner punk. And this is on the record label Kings of Stoner Punk Records, which I think is actually themselves. I'm not 100% sure. It's published by MVKA, who basically do a lot of services for artists and ship this stuff out. But it wouldn't surprise me, given the help they've had from Metallica, that they trying to keep control of their own music. I think it wouldn't surprise me at all. So yeah, stoner punk, probably a good way of describing some of this. To be honest, they've just gone on tour. They're still on tour at the moment with Metallica and Ghost, and I've been getting some phenomenal reviews. They just announced a tour in the UK. Hopefully, I'm going to get down there at the end of the year to see them down in London. And yeah, it's when I first heard Divide and Conquer, I was so stoked. I was like, this album's great. Shared it with my boys. We talked about it on the show. And I think we didn't talk about it till last year. I think I missed it when it came out. And this follow-up record, it's softer. I don't think it's as heavy as Divide and Conquer. I think it's still got some killer riffs and it's got some real sludgy guitar in there. But they've sprinkled in there delight of some great riffs, some kick-ass choruses. I think the choruses in this record are sing-along, catchy, just good time. I love the balance in the music. I really do. But before I go too much into it, before we share our thoughts, we'll hear yours from our Discord server. If you want to check the Discord server out, it's abandofgamers.com/Discord. Every couple of weeks, we put an album out. We ask people to rate that album out of 5 beers. And so here are a few words from the community. We've got Kafod. Love the heavy guitar. Band is great. Lead vocals bring it down a half pint. Okay. Sounds like yelling the whole time. Yelling like bad drunken karaoke. Not good yelling like Zach De La Roca. Well, Zach's a hard act to follow. P.S. Backup vocals were good. I'll come on to those in a little bit. Our friend Tim Paulin, metal is alive and well with a 4 out of 5 beers. Kafod also gave this 4 out of 5, I should just say. Our very own Brad 32, music blog writer on our website. If you haven't already checked that out, please do so. And he's giving this 5 out of 5 beers. Good man. There's just not much to say about this album. Everything about it hits everything in my wheelhouse. Brad, I couldn't agree more. I'll just talk a little bit more about this before I get John and Shane's opinions on it. I love the start of the record. Again, it's a bit of a, not prologue, it's a brologue. I think that's brilliant. It's cheesy but fun.
Definitely cheesy.
Tune on the there's a tune on their Vultures, which is where I get these Queen of the Stone Age vibes from. It's got a sax solo in it. It's ridiculous. It's fun.
I love that. I love that sax solo, dude. It's completely there's no more sax on the whole rest of the record, right? But that's great when they chuck that in there.
Which is great. I mean, where can you have that? Where can you have those chunky guitars? The shouty metal vocal. You've got the choruses, and you've got sax in there. I mean, come on, it's great. Mouth Breathers Inc., one of the singles. Again, you get that serious chorus coming in there. It's really got that Metallica chunk to it, especially his vocal in there, where he's oh yeah, come on now. He's got that Hetfield kind of bit that just drops in there, and the vocal on the rest of it, there's parts of it that remind me of Slayer, just in the way that he's delivering his vocals. He's very shouty, but very kind of flat in parts, and it just that monotonous kind of shouting, which kind of reminded me in a nice way. But the sludgy guitars throughout it, there's choruses. Wrath is Love. You've got the wo-ohs that come in there. The wo-ohs appear again in Captain Cold One. I love all that. I absolutely love it. It's been really fun. I don't know if I prefer it to Divide and Conquer or not. I think Divide and Conquer was such a different beast, but I've certainly had a ton of fun with this record. I hung my hat on it. I've listened to it an absolute ton. I've recommended it to the boys here. So the proof is in the pudding. Joel, Shane, what do you think?
I'll go first here because I've got the ex-metalhead roots. And I say ex-metalhead because a lot of the new metal just doesn't do it for me anymore. It's become more grunty and more shouty, more guttural than it was when I was a kid. That 90s thrash and the old school Metallica and even more into the Black Album. They still did some singing. And I really like on this record how the singer, although throaty, guttural, and shouty, is singing. there's there's good melodies, I guess, in the tunes. And they kind of add those OEO parts that Karl mentioned there just to kind of spruce up the melodic side a little bit. And I like that. Some of the riffs there's good riff work, good guitar work on here. The riff stuff I mentioned earlier that 90s thrash was very riffy. Some of the metal I've heard nowadays tends to be more just as fast as you can play the guitar, as heavy as you can play the guitar, tuned down as far as you can with a 7-string or something, so your strings are just barely hanging there, and it's as like heavy as possible, whereas this is more on the riff work. And I like that. It reminds me a little bit even of this is a pullback from a long time ago, but Prong, their album Beg to Differ from the 90s, which ended up being like the soundtrack to Headbangers Ball on MTV for many, many years. They kept starting and ending the segments with Prong. It was great guitar riff work and very melodic. So I'm quite digging this record. I think I might even like it better than the last album, just because the melodies are pulling me in, and the lyrics are funny.
Yeah,
it's not poetic. It's not like these intellectual lyrics like some of the stuff we listen to, but they're not dumb. And a lot of metal nowadays, and Metal G's in the past, it's got some really stupid lyrics. I don't know how many times I've heard about graves and demons and just all those like tropes from metal, death metal. These guys got some goofy lyrics. I'm laughing out loud sometimes listening to it. There's a line in Captain Cold One where I think he might be taking a jab at podcasters. I'm not quite sure, but he talks about how podcasters you got to hear their thoughts. You got to hear what they have to say about Hall and Oates. Just totally cracks me up. Talks about how you know every character in Mordor. There's just some funny lines in there. Goofy lyrics. Lighthearted, I guess, for metal.
Totally. And that video, so Captain Cold War is probably my favourite tune on this record because of the chorus is massive. And I watched the music video to it about 10 times because it's hilarious. Like they're walking along, and this is the tune that makes me think of like Offspring, where they're kind of like walking towards the camera, and it's almost punky, like it's got that kind of edge to it with his delivery. And the drummer's like next to him, and he's just holding, like he's talking about like, while I'm listening to my Origin of Symmetry, and he holds up the album by Muse, and he's just like, yeah, nice. Like, and it's so tongue in cheek, and it's so, refreshing to find a metal band who don't take themselves seriously, and it is a little bit silly, and yeah, the vocals and the lyrics are kind of fun, and I love that about them.
Yeah, I feel like if I looked up this band on Google, which I haven't really done, I wouldn't see a bunch of pictures of them like forebodingly staring into the camera with these death glares. They seem like cool dudes.
It's a fun record. It really is. It's a fun record. What I like about it is the choruses. Really anthemic, stadium, arena, big chorus. It's where I get sounds a day to remember at times. It's got heavy and then just boom, and then there's always a great, anthemic melody over top of it and whatnot. Favorite tune's probably the last one, believe it or not. I think it's just hell of a riff on the last tune, and where it goes and where it takes you is really, really cool.
Yeah.
There's times where some of the riffs start to sound a bit muddy, and it's kind of and then they get into a chorus and it's like, yeah, man, that's where it is, man. They're back, they're back. It's my only real complaint about it. I'm not huge on the singer at all, but just some of those riffs, a little bit of the production just kind of gets a little bit lost in some of the riffs for me. But that being said, it is a fun record. I went back and listened to Divide and Conquer, which I think I like a little bit more. I'm kind of with Karl on this one, Joel. But it's but either way, they're both great records, and I think this is probably a better introduction to them if you're just getting into them, or
Sure.
you're going to see fucking Metallica, and these guys come out, it's like, oh yeah, man, these guys are great, and you buy the record and digs right into you. Then you pick up Divide and Conquer, it's like, holy crap, man, this is awesome, So it has that bit of a stepping stone to the records. But yeah, man, yeah, Bokassa's a great band, great 3-piece, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah, 3-piece.
Yeah, that's fantastic, man. 3-pieces are the best, man. Keep it simple. Get out there and kick some ass, and that's what they're doing. And that tour that they're doing right now with Ghost and fucking Metallica. I mean, it's getting great reviews, dude. Metallica's sounding great on this leg, man.
Really?
They're sounding superb on this leg. Yeah, and I mean, they got Ghost. I mean, I've been watching clips of Ghost doing it, and they're bringing down the house as well, man. So this is a hell of a bill, hell of a tour. Definitely can't recommend going to see these guys enough. So fantastic, yeah great
man.
stuff, Bokassa.
I would have loved to have gone on this tour. I would have loved to have seen them. And when that tour was announced, we were hoping, we're just like, oh, there's a gap for download. Maybe they'll, maybe Ghost will headline a stage. Maybe Metallica will be a main stage headliner. But yeah, it just didn't pan out that way. But yeah, if I was going to this, I'd be so stoked, man. Like half hour of Bokassa, then maybe 45 minutes of Ghost, and then 2 hours of Metallica. I mean, yeah, a Metallica are sounded super good on this tour, to be fair. I mean, you talked about Divide and Conquer there, and I think I would give this album, if I was going to give it a criticism, the same criticism I gave Divide and Conquer, is that it Divide and Conquer, although it had all that punch to it and it sounded super good, it was short and it felt like a glorified EP, and I was like, I wish they'd go away and just do a proper album. And there's a couple of bits in this where I think it's 9 songs, it's 29 minutes, but the intro is 129, so that it doesn't really count as a tune in my head, right?
Yeah.
And then you've got Crimson Ride as the title track, which is almost an intro into Captain Cold on. The riff, the last chord kind of plays out at the end, a bit of reverb, and then it goes into Captain Cold on. So really, as good as Immortal Space Pirate 2 is, that last track, Shane, which is like 7 minutes. I wish that perhaps they'd maybe spread it out a little bit. Maybe not change the length of the album, maybe keep it 30, 31, 32 minutes, but maybe just have 9 real good songs. But that would be my only criticism. It's a small criticism. It's
yeah. It does. The album does go by a little bit fast. The first few times I listened to it, it's like, oh crap, it's done. Start it up again. It just kind of ended, and it's kind of like, okay, well, I want some more. Give me some more, man. Give me a couple more tunes, man. But
and you do risk that similarity and that repetition. Like you said, the guitars get sludgy. When you get one track going into another, you do risk that a little bit, and especially when it's not very long, you do end up with that. So yeah, I've loved it. It's been it's been on repeat a lot, and I'll take a break from it now as I move on to my next one.
Yeah, I don't know if they got, like, a lot of bands write like 2 hours worth of stuff, get to the studio, and then just trim it down and put out a record. I don't know if that's what happened with this album. I have no idea. I guess the 30 minutes doesn't bother me. It's a very concise record. I do like that about it. Most metal records, though, are a little beefier, right, as far as the time.
Sure.
And they're not like mucking about just to muck about. They get to the point, they give you the melody, they punch you in the face, they're out. And I think Shane compared it to some punk music at the beginning. I'm assuming that's what he meant, right? It's just the very short, quick tunes, tune to tune to tune. Kind of, it flows well, I guess.
It does, yeah. I'd be interested to see where they go, but like whether in 2 years' time, because I think 27 to 2019, it is a good album. It's a very strong album, I think, and fun and short. It's just the right length. There's a lot about it that's just right, but in 2 years' time, I would hope to see that step up for the next album, and maybe not, maybe not necessarily take it a little bit more seriously, but I think what I'm trying to get at is just maybe, think about it more, bit of better production, structure the songs differently, maybe. But yeah, big things I hope for this band anyway.
Besides this record, I've got a few others to recommend, but my cohorts here have been to a couple gigs. Do you guys want to share where you've been, what you've been doing, what you saw?
Yeah, man. I actually went to a gig, man. Old man Skip just got out of the house, man. I never go to gigs anymore, man. Getting old here.
Does feel like that sometimes.
Right? It's been a while. No. Yeah, so Pumpkin Drublic Fest. It's a craft beer and music fest put on by Fat Mike of NoFX, Fat Records. Did a bunch of dates in the United States a couple of years back, took it through Europe, came back, and they've done a couple in Canada, folks. And one of them was in Vancouver. So yeah, I instantly grabbed tickets and went. There's about 40 local breweries there, which is great. So you get your little 4-ounce little mini mug, which is a nice little souvenir, and a bunch of drink tickets, and go try some great beers. And then Then they got about 5 or 6 bands usually playing. At this gig, they had The Last Gang, which we talked about on the show. Fantastic. Blown away. So tight. Great way to start the afternoon. Great stuff. Chicks dig it. Canadian punk rock group. Awesome. Totally playing the crowd. Crowd loves them. You know, they're Canadian. They're here. Lead singer KJ Jensen was making fun of the VIPs because there's a separate little viewing area for the VIPs, and to get VIPs was like $20 more. So like he would change the lyrics to make fun of VIPs, and oh, you guys spent $20 more. Let's hear it for the guys, you know, the rich, you know, folks over here and whatnot, and just ragging on him. It was fantastic.
That would have been me, by the way.
Yeah, exactly right. I should have done that actually. The VIP stuff looked really, really cool once you get there and whatnot. So
the guys with a little monocle, like, or maybe the opera glasses,
right? Yeah, exactly. Just rattle your jury.
I should go grab my new readers. Really show you how I fit right into that category. Anyway,
there you go, buddy. Anti-Flag, the Pride of Pennsylvania. They blew the roof off the place, even though it was an outdoor festival. They were incredible. It's the first time I think it was the first time I've seen them. I might have seen them years ago, but yeah, they were fantastic. Vancouver's own The Real Mackenzies went out there. They slayed, man. Everybody's into it. They love them. They live like 4 blocks from where it was taking place at the PNE. Then the boys in Bad Religion came out, and it's Bad Religion, man. They just keep getting better and better and better.
Dude.
Their lead guitar player was playing a Les Paul Jr. And I am firmly convinced the Les Paul Jr. is the perfect rock sounding guitar. He sounded incredible. His tone was amazing. Whether it was playing the riffs, getting into the odd solo, incredible. Just huge respect for that guitar player. I don't know his name. I haven't looked it up, but man, they slayed. And then, of course, the headliners, No Effects, came on, and you know, always a great time. Always a great time, making fun of everyone. You know, great stuff. I mean, they just do what they do, and they bunged up a couple tunes. You can tell they were enjoying quite a few drinks. It was a very, very hot afternoon. It wasn't supposed to be so hot, and we get there, and holy crap! By 2:00, the sun's out, gleaming. I got home, and I'm like, I gotta take a shower. Right, get out, take a shower, get out. Literally looking like Zoidberg when I came out of the shower, but with like the Zoidberg.
Oh, I love it.
The farmer tan and everything. Oh, it was brilliant. And then, of course, 2 days later, my whole face is peeling off.
Dude, nice.
Oh, it's so gross. Yeah. Oh, it was brilliant. All in all, fantastic day. Fantastic. So much fun. So many great bands. So many great beers. And the thing is that punk shows, metal shows, they have the best crowds. They have the best crowds. Everybody is super, super friendly. Everybody's there for the same reason. Everybody's got some sort of emotional tie to one of the bands, 2 of the bands. We all grew up listening to them. We're all, kind of cut from the same froth or whatever it's called. And it's just a good time. I mean, you'd stop, and I was rocking my my Matt Skiba shirt, and I had so many people come up like, "Hey man, I love Matt Skiba, man. What do you think of the new tunes, man? What do you think of the album?" Saw a dude in CJ Ramon shirt. I'm like, dude, CJ. And we just talked about CJ Ramon, and we were at the same gigs the whole time. And it's everybody's just so great at these shows. So yeah, A+, fantastic. One of the best, kind of festival gigs I've been to, in a long time. Probably the best festival gig I've seen. I mean, there's some cool Warped Tour shows I saw way back in the day, but man, they just put on a great event, and highly recommend checking it out.
And kind of nice too for a festival show to just be like a day, an afternoon, mixed in the craft beers. It's a nice combination there, right?
And
our wheelhouse
went on at about 7:45. So you're still home at a decent time. Even if you're hungover or whatever, you can still go to work the next day or whatever. It was just a well put on, just so well put on fest.
Yeah, I hate to admit it, but those are my favorites as well, Shane.
Here.
Amen.
What time did you get out of the Janelle Monáe show, Karl?
We stayed right till the end. To be fair, it wasn't mega late. I think 11 o'clock. I think we were done.
Oof.
Yeah. She's
Just kidding.
Yeah, it's all late for all those old timers. Yeah, it's a bit late, that one. Yeah. I took the missus for a birthday, and Janelle Monáe is one of those artists that Joel had introduced me to some of the stuff, and she had as well, and I was like, oh yeah, and I got to listen to the back catalogue, and it just blew me away. Like, it recorded stuff is unbelievable, and I don't know what I was expecting live. It's one of those. I was like, do you know what? I don't really know what to expect. I don't know if I'm going to get a lady just stood there singing. Is it just going to be, just the tunes or what? And I was not prepared for for how good she was. I was not prepared for Janelle Monáe. One of the best live performances I have ever seen. And I have been to a lot of gigs. In my years, in my small number of years, one of the most explosive, powerful, fun, talented, just amazing entertainers you will probably see on the planet at the minute. I can't speak highly enough of her. Her records are fantastic. Live, different animal, completely different animal. Just power, like so much presence from such a little dot. Like, she's only a little thing. And she had such an amazing delivery, and just she got the crowd just completely on side. And she just stood up there and she spoke the truth for about an hour, and through different tunes, all about empowerment, inclusivity, and just awesome stuff. And it was the Dirty Computer tour, so there was a lot of focus on that album. The opening of the set was absolutely blistering. All Dirty Computer with a little bit of Arcandroid, a bit of Electric Lady. There's a lot of costume changes, a lot of kind of things that you don't really notice. Like, she had a really talented team of dancers with her, which she was getting in all that with. A band was incredible. The drummer was awesome, just absolutely unbelievable. And I'm sort of sat there like, I can't believe this. Like, I can't believe that she is that good. And we were talking to, between the two of us, and sort of saying, look, you can kind of get like a mix of James Brown, Prince, and Michael Jackson, and the kind of craziness of Gaga, like the almost like just mentalness, really, and put that into a little ball, and it is Janelle Monáe. She played the same set that we watched live at Glastonbury, which is on BBC iPlayer. If you have it, you've got to watch it, because that set is awesome. Exactly the same show we saw. And at the end, she's like, right, okay, this is happening. I want to create a moment with you all. And she just took her clothes off down to a bodysuit that she was wearing. She's like, right, I'm coming in there. Went to the barrier. It's like, everybody calm down. She's putting her hands in a downward motion to the crowd, as if you're like trying to calm down a wild animal, basically saying, I'm coming in there, chill out. And she climbs over the barrier. She's like, stops about 3 people in, going, this is highly illegal. And then just proceeds to walk, 50, 60, 70 meters, whatever, right the way into the middle of the crowd. Like, she's literally in the middle of the stadium, singing, talking to, she's going past people going, nice earrings. Just chatting to the crowd as she's walking through. And she's on her own, like no security, no nothing, just in there. And then starts singing and bringing it up. The melody kicks in, the chorus kicks in, and the crowd just goes mad. And I've been to a ton of metal gigs. I've seen Pits, Walls of Death, all that great stuff. And the limbs that went flailing in this Janelle Monáe concert, it's just unbelievable. I've never seen anyone walk into the crowd almost to like halfway into the arena, just on a microphone, chatting to everybody, interacting, and then kicking off like that. And as she makes her way back to the stage, she's running up and down, just gave everything, absolutely everything. And you are generally stunned, when she leaves the stage. So yeah, I can't talk about her enough. I think, she's got the album, she's got the tunes. As a live performer, she's almost untouchable, I think, for the people that I've seen. Just wow, absolutely wow. And if you get a chance to see her, you've got to go see her. unbelievable. I know it's pop music; it's not really my wheelhouse, but goddamn, she makes it your wheelhouse. That's all I can say.
Yeah, she can sing, right? Her vocals are, and then the variety of music that she does. She's not like in one little narrow channel for pop. She'll do some R&B and some soul, and she'll a little bit of like metal, almost like hard rock guitar in some of her tunes.
And she did a nice little tribute to Prince, Purple Rain and stuff, and the guitar player came out and all the lights went purple. Did a bit of that solo, and she's like, we love you, Prince, we miss you, and all that. And she, Prince was a big influence to her on other albums and stuff, and she ran them past him and things like that. And it was quite, it was just all so intelligent performance. And yeah, I absolutely loved her. Already looking to the next time I can see her, and cannot wait for the next album. Super, super stoked.
Talk about an underrated guitar player, Prince. Man, that guy can play guitar. Not a show off. You got to really search and seek those moments out. But when you find a moment like on YouTube or something, and you see him just start wailing on a guitar solo where he kind of loses track of himself for a second, guy can play guitar. Holy crap, Prince is a talented guy.
Yeah. And in complete contrast, the album I've been listening to mostly the last couple of weeks is Rotting Christ. Going back to that metal.
That sounds like new metal right there. Rotting Christ.
Yeah, these boys, it's a Greek metal band, and these boys have been around for a long time, and they've been on the periphery. They've been on the radar, but I've never gone into them. The new album, The Heretics, is a lot lighter. More accessible. There's a couple of tunes on there that remind me of the Parkway Drive record from last year, Reverence, where it's more it's not as ridiculously heavy. Let's say that. And yeah, I've really been digging this. It's really, really good. Already is it's going to be up there in the albums of the year for me. I'm enjoying it that much. The last tune on the album is it's a take on Edgar Allan Poe's The Raven, the poem. And it's really well done, is all I would say. It's definitely worth your time. If you're not into metal, you probably won't enjoy it, but maybe give it a listen or two. It's accessible, I would say.
We've got a Spotify playlist for every episode. Of course, the featured recommended album, Bokassa's Crimson Riders, will be at the top of that list. I put some Hall and Oates in there because, Captain Cold One made me do so. But I should chuck some Rotting Christ in there as well. Give this a listen. I've been down this Alice Donut rabbit hole lately. So in the 90s, I loved this band called Alice Donut. And I was probably one of few that loved this band. They didn't hit a lot of people. But for me, it's just one of those bands where it just felt like it was all mine. It was all to myself. Nobody else knew about it. I play it for people that are like, yeah, you're weird. Yeah, okay. And I'd have to go down to the Atomic Records in Milwaukee. Rest in peace. Been gone for years. The only place in town that had these Alice Donut records, or the CDs at the time. It's my band. And I didn't even realize, but they put out a documentary a couple years ago called Freaks in Love, and it's available on Amazon Prime. So you can watch it with your subscription to Amazon Prime. Not really free, but free if you're subscribed to Amazon Prime. And a very good documentary. They do an excellent job portraying the band that I love. It's very endearing to me. Had my wife watch it with me. And believe it or not, after watching that documentary, she now appreciates my band, Alice Donut. It's so awesome.
There it is.
Those years ago, I played this in the house, and she'd be like, you are so out there. Like, what are you listening to? Now she hears it, and she's like, I get it. I like these guys. So I've been able to pull out my old records and my old CDs. And the other day, last night, I pulled out my Alice Donut DVD from 2004 when they did a reunion show. And it's called There's a Curious Lump in My Sack. I think Dew was going through.
What else would they call it?
Put that on, and she, to her credit, it was late at night and we had a full day, but she managed to stay awake for most of it. She's like, this is not bad. It's really cool too. There's the drummer, Stephen Moses. He plays trombone, and he kind of pulls the trombone out in some of their tunes. He actually plays on Blind Melon Soup, one of my albums of the decade, 90s. Oh, wow. Does some trombone on there, and they do a cover of Waiting Room by Fugazi on this DVD.
Oh yeah,
where the lead vocal is on the trombone. It's so awesome.
Ooh.
I love this band. Alice Donut. I wish you were listening. I love you. You guys are awesome. So I've just been like going straight down that rabbit hole lately. So great. They all got families and regular jobs now. They don't really do much like touring or anything anymore. But I already told my wife, if they get back together and they play a show, I don't care if it's in New York, fucking going. We're going. I am not. I've seen them. I saw them once. They opened for Blind Melon, like 1993, 94 at the Riverside. I had one chance to see them, and that's where I discovered them. And I was all in. Besides that, I've been listening to a lot of world music. We like the world music in this house. Couple I want to share. I've listened to a lot more than this, but just two that kind of floated to the top. George Ben. The album's called Africa, Brazil. Came out in 76. Samba and soul mixed with funk electric guitar. And apparently at the time, he was like the samba master and kind of freaked his audience out a little bit because he grabbed an electric guitar and kind of did some funk on this record. It's pretty damn awesome. I've been loving this album. Got it off the Vinyl Me Please. Might have been, I don't know if it's their main track, The Essentials, or if it's in the classic. I think it might have been in the main track. So thank you, Vinyl Me Please, for introducing me to this Africa Brazil record. And then also a band out of Chicago. It's not really world music, but they're playing a style of world music. They're called Dos Santos. The album's called Logos. Came out a year or two ago. And they're a combination of Latin and progressive. So think something like Polyrhythmics from Shane's neck of the woods up there in Seattle area that I shared a few, probably dozen episodes or so ago, mixed with like Latin, percussive, really awesome stuff. So ordered the album on Bandcamp, waiting for that to arrive. Been streaming the hell out of that on Spotify. That nice. Much more, but those two records right now, man, just like I just can't get enough of George Ben's Africa Brazil and Dos Santos Logos. Ooh. Kind of under the radar, at least that Dos Santos. The George Ben is on Universal, so it's on a major label now. But Dos Santos, I think, independently released. So if I were to recommend an album for next episode, it'd be one of those two. I'd let my boys pick, and whatever they got. What do you guys got next episode?
I do have an album, but I feel like as I did last episode, or this episode, I feel like a change of pace.
Really? I never took you for being one of those like a change pace type of guys. Really,
the album I've got to recommend is so good. I think I need to keep it for another couple of weeks.
Attaboy.
Back pocket.
Let it brew.
I'm intrigued.
Could be, potential fave of the year. So
Dude, you're throwing out faves of the year this episode like it's candy.
Exactly.
You know,
it's a top 10. I mean, but this album.
This year's favorite of the year episode is just going to be Karl sitting there.
Just call it
100.
That's a favorite of the year.
The year's over.
Just going through like the Daily Times. That's a favorite of the fucking year. That's a favorite.
You'll be there going, God, Karl was on it in August, man. He already had like 7 or 8. You know what I mean? Just saying. When we get to that pressure point in November, you're like, oh God, what did I listen to? I've got a real good album that I want to recommend, but I'm gonna save it because I fancy a bit of world music.
Well, there you go.
Come on, Shane, you got anything?
All right, let's George Ben, man.
Is that it, George Ben?
That's my vote out of those two.
They're both really good.
Okay.
No pressure, Karl.
Favorite of the year.
Let's go, George Ben. Okay.
Favorite of the year from 1976. George Ben's.
I wasn't born then.
Africa, Brazil. Fuck off.
I'm sure you were.
Well, not officially.
All right, guys. Next episode, featured recommended album, George Ben, Africa, Brazil. We'll throw it up on our Discord, abandongamers.com/Discord. If you'd like to rate it out of 5 beers, leave some comments. We would be lucky and happy to share that on the next episode. Thank you so much for listening. We appreciate you spending 60, 80, 90 minutes with us. We appreciate it. Let's keep this conversation going. Send an email over to us at feedback@abandongamers.com. Leave a comment in the show post for this episode, abandongamers.com/196. You can join our Discord server I just mentioned and our Facebook group. Lots of great conversation going over there. So if Facebook is your thing, if you like to hang out there in the app on your phone or whatnot, come on over. Love to have you over there as well. Got our albums of the decade chat, or decades, 60s through 2010s over there, and lots of great conversation. If you want to add your favorites, that'd be cool. You can follow us on social media at Abandoned Gamers on both Twitter and Instagram, where Shane is killing it. Awesome stuff over there, Shane, on that Instagram account. I see so many great records go by, and yet you never bring them up and recommend them.
I'm so selfish, man. I love, you know what? I was thinking actually about that the other day. There's just like so many great records, and it's not really selfishness, but they hit like some sort of chord with you. And it's like, same with Joel and Alice Donut. It's mine. It's mine. And I'm not ready to put it out there and let it breathe and have other people enjoy it. I just leave me with it. I need to get through this, and I'll share the record with everyone, and then everybody can go nuts and say how brilliant I am for recommending and finding all these great albums. But man, there's some good content on there. So if you're on Instagram, come over, say hi.
Definitely.
Cool.
Retro games, albums, beer. Nice job, buddy.
Lots of beer.
Yep. You can find all the links to our social media at abandonedgamers.com at the bottom of the page. Little icons. Click on those. Check out our Instagram. See all the albums that Shane should be recommending on our show that he saves for himself. That's good stuff. Remember when I was in high school, I had a friend. It's happened to me a couple times where I just loved something so much, and I had these friends that just like everything I said, they loved it too. And it got to be really annoying. And there was an album that came out from Death Angel called Frolic Through the Park. And this is like just this high point for me in thrash in like 1994 or something. And my buddy who copied everything I said on his own, he liked In Excess. But for some, it was just weird. Everything I liked, he's like, it's my new favorite band. And I got so sick of that I wouldn't tell him what it was. I'd play it and he's like, what is this? I'm like, I'm not telling you. You don't get to know. This is my record. So that's our Instagram. Apparently,
it just came on. I don't know. It's like, dude, I saw you put the tape in. You hit play. You know what it is. Just tell me. It's radio.
It was a cassette too. You can't see it. It's in that player. It's none of your business. It's like, it's great, right? Like, it's really good. Too bad you're not going to know what it is.
Brutal.
Yeah.
Brutal. Well, I'll let you know how they are live in a couple of weeks.
Oh. What?
Yeah.
Great band.
Stay tuned.
All right. I'll talk about a cliffhanger.
Dun, dun, dun.
Thanks, everybody. See you next time. 2 weeks.
Good night.
God bless.
Good morning.
Magic people, voodoo people.
If ABOG was a game show, the host would be saying, final question. Got a few minutes. Got to get out of here to the next segment. Try and keep her down to 60 minutes like we promised at the front. So real quickly, anything else, guys, you've been playing, you want to suggest to the listeners?
No, I'm good.